Yay! All right. Let's see if it will connect. All right, two people are on, so that means the link worked. And 3, yay, folks are joining. And we're still a minute earlier, so, which normally I'm like a minute behind. So anyway, yeah, drinking a naked drink here. I'm in Twin Lakes, and there really isn't a whole lot here in town. It's a pretty tiny town, but they have kombucha at the general store and naked drinks, and it's like, I guess enough hikers have come in. Colorado Trail and Continental Trail Divide, or well, Colorado Trail and Continental Divide Trail together have come through here enough and been like, hey, do you have any fuel? Hey, do you have any kombucha? Hey, do you have any naked drinks? And I guess tuna and peanut butter and all the stuff that hikers normally need. So even though this town is tiny, they have pretty much the necessities. So awesome. I see folks commenting. What's up, Dixie? Happy Wednesday. Hello. Yeah, I don't know that we've ever done a Q&A the day that a video has come out. I don't think we have. So it's kind of interesting that it just came out. I don't know if any of y'all have watched it, but this is the one where I finally told everyone, about the wisdom tooth issue I had, and it's completely fine now as far as the way it feels. But I still have the hole back in there, so, but, other than just, like, knowing it's there, it's fine, so. Yay, hello from New Zealand. Awesome. You're looking good. Well, thank you. It's the lighting in this room. No, I'm just kidding. I actually have the tripod propped up in the windowsill so I can actually get light, and it's not just like this dark shadow of a face that y'all are seeing. So let's see, that hole is quite useful for eating Fritos. Yeah, it saves one. It saves one down in there sometimes, and I gotta swish it out. But hey Dixie, just finishing today's video. Hi from Montana. John from Ohio again. This time I'm not driving between Ohio and Alabama. Happy Wednesday. Awesome. Yep. Okay, so, yeah, so just a little update of what's going on. Hey from Texas, Alex says, so I just did the section from Monarch Pass to Twin Lakes, and there was one kind of sketchy spot. It was called Lake Ann Pass. And so going northbound, you can't really see the southbound side, right? Obviously the south side. So, but when you get up there, there's a cornice, and I'd had a few people tell me, and so I knew kind of to go to the right and then plunge, step down the snow, and then then you're fine. Then you get on loose scree and go down to the trail from there. So as soon as I saw that, because Aaron left town a day after me, he decided to stay another day, so he'll be getting into Twin Lakes this evening sometime. I went and got him a room. I went and told them to hold a room for him because he was going to be getting in a little bit later. So but anyway, so I messaged him because he has the inReach now, and I inReached him from my inReach, and I said, don't go over Lake Ann Pass in the dark, because I know he'll, excuse me, I'm burping. I know that he would try to catch up and would try to be night hiking, and I was like, just don't do that in the dark. Well, apparently he didn't get there in the dark, but he still couldn't figure out where everyone was here, but hours to get down there. So I hope he didn't try climbing down that cornice. I don't know what he did, but leave it to him. He did some kind of whatever, but at least he had then reached, so had he gotten in trouble, he could have called. So but anyway, okay, wow. All right, yeah, it was doing near the window. It wasn't getting good Wi-Fi, so I'm gonna set it on the bed and try not to move around too much. Yeah, let's not have this crisis again. So I don't think there will be an issue if I just scoot over here. But okay, so now y'all can see my double chin, but that's okay. Status on Patreon. It seems like y'all like to see some of that, So I'll do a picture dump again once we get off of here. Questions yet? Nope, just hey from North Carolina, Michigan, Texas, North Ohio, Louisville, Aaron again. Yeah. James, yay, you finally made a live Q&A. Yeah, I tried to mix it up and do it at different times. So, Sally Jones says, hey. Sally, I was thinking about in this last stretch when somebody asked about what my favorite food was, and I forgot to mention those dried mushrooms. So, yeah, so those are definitely with the Alfredo pasta sides. Those are pretty heavenly, and some spinach. So, okay, let's see. First question. I mean, it might sound crazy, but I don't really do a whole lot of research on what's coming. And the reason is I kind of like to be surprised. Like, obviously, I want to be covered. So I know in grizzly country, I need to get some bear spray and things like that, obviously. But as far as like looking at a whole lot of pictures or other people's videos and stuff, I just don't do a whole lot of that. So just without researching much of it, Yellowstone, just because of like the geysers and some of that stuff. But that's because I've heard more about it. I'm sure Glacier will be absolutely amazing. But yeah, if I had to pick one right now and I was told sight unseen you could go to one, it would probably be Yellowstone. And that's just because I've heard more about it in general. So, this bed is shaking. Let me try something real quick. Sorry, y'all. I thought I had a good set. Maybe that'll make it a little more stable, so it's not bouncing around every time I'm scrolling through looking at the questions. So, all right, let's see. The things I think about. Here's my question of the week. Do you ever find the most perfect place to poop and discover when you go to dig the hole that someone has dug it in the same place? Okay, so Fred, on the AT, yes. If you think about pooping there, somebody else has pooped there. On the PCT, sometimes, but if you get a little more creative, usually you're good. But here, I haven't dug up any buried treasure. And most people are good about leaving some kind of marker, like a stick stabbed into the ground, or an X with sticks. So it's like you don't want to dig for this buried treasure. But so I haven't found a single one of those yet. Now watch me jinx myself and find some buried treasure. But yeah, so I haven't had any of that. That is pretty funny to think about, though. Will you be on Mount Elbert? So Mount Elbert would be a side trip, and I'm not gonna add any miles on this trek because Canada. So like I definitely want to make sure I make it to Canada in time. And that actually brings up something that I mentioned in the status that Perk decided to take the Silverthorn route, and that cuts off Gray's Peak, which is a 14er that's on the trail. And I just can't cut that off and feel good about it. And somebody mentioned, well, why the Silverthorn? Like, why would you want to take that? And one reason, because it goes directly into town, so you don't have to worry about hitchhiking. It goes directly through town. Two, it cuts off about 40 miles of official trail, so it just helps you time-wise. And it's an official alternate, it's still considered a through hike. And it's an alternate probably because of a lot of snow. So if there are storms or something like that, it's a low route that you can take so that you're not having to go over a 14er, So when Mayer was coming through southbound, he was going to have to take the Silverthorn cutoff or alternate. There was no way he could have done Graves Peak and gone that high route. So, but I, as much as I love to bag some stuff and as much as I did on the AT, the high points, stay high points and stuff like that, I'm just, because I had to take 2 weeks off for graduation this time instead of the one that I had hoped for, I just don't feel comfortable spending a whole lot of time doing too many side treks. So definitely gonna get Grays, and there are some other peaks in that stretch, but they won't be like Elbert. So Elbert is definitely on the list to come back and do sometime though. So, and Riga lives in Boulder now, so I can come visit her and do some of that. But my main goal is Canada, see as much as of the awesomeness of the CDT I can on the way, and you know, that's pretty much it. So, if I had only taken a week, then I might bag Elbert. But so let's see, Central Colorado, a lot of Coloradans. If you could describe each trail in one word, what would they be? Oh man. Okay. Let's see. I don't know. For the AT, it would either be culture or no. You know what? It would be probably either community or camaraderie. That would be the AT, and then the PCT would be hell. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No, the PCT for me was a rough year. The PCT would probably, in general, be. Golly, that's a really tough one. I don't know. For me, it would probably be something like, you know, challenge or something like that. But something overcoming that. So I might have to think on this and give you a good answer in a post on Patreon later. And then this trail so far, I might would say like just wild. And I guess maybe wild should be it for the PCT because of the book, right? But this trail, I've seen more wildlife. It's just been more, I don't even want to say desolate because that kind of gives a negative connotation, but it's just been more you're in the middle of nowhere, you know, you're left to your own devices. So yeah, let me think on that, and I'll actually write a note right now, and because I don't just want to sit here pondering. But I really do love this trail. I would say right now, if I had to rank the trails of likeliness to hike again in order, would be AT, CDT, PCT. So, okay, so one word for each trail. Okay, I wrote that down, and I'm gonna get back to you on that before I leave town. So probably tonight I'll think about that and comment that. But that's a really good question. Okay, let's see. Okay. Very keen to hike in the USA, but I have to say the mosquitoes bother me. Have you experienced any mosquitoes so far on the CDT? Yes. So in the video that just came out today, that's one of the things that I noticed when I got back on trail is there are a lot of mosquitoes. But I say a lot. There are patches where you have them, but they're not as vicious as ones that I met on the AT and the PCT so far. These are like almost like newborns and they don't really know what they're doing yet or something. I don't know. It's weird. So I haven't been like covered in mosquito bites. Yeah, Aaron's gotten quite a few. But you know, I don't know. I guess also I know that when I get to a spot that has mosquitoes, I just go ahead and put on my rain pants and rain top because that way I don't have to deal with them. But yeah, the ones on the PCT would like dig down in my hair and my scalp and try biting my scalp, and it was just terrible. I'm like, don't you have a deer to go bite or something? But yeah. Okay, let's see. Did you ever consider the Z-Packs are called Zip? That's a good question. I liked the idea of it, but I don't like the idea of relying on a zipper. I feel like that's a mechanical thing that can just fail. So of course you would figure something out if it failed, right? I mean, you wouldn't just sit there and go, well, I guess my hike's over. You know, you figure something out. But I just thought that wasn't a great idea. Now, I have never heard of anybody who's used one having an issue with their zipper. So for all I know, it's great, and that's just me being paranoid. But yeah, it does look really cool because you can really, like a suitcase, really pack that stuff in there. So I'm not saying don't. I'm just saying that's why I didn't. But what's on your playlist this hike? Oh Lord, I've got so many different things. I try to pick up things along the way too that kind of will remind me of the hike. And I went and saw a play while I was in Creed, and it was kind of set in the 50s, 60s, well, probably the 60s. Um, and it had that song "Be My Baby" in it. Be my baby. And so just all sorts of stuff. I've got um, some Miranda Lambert because she's crazy. You know, they say Dell will set fire to the rain, and Miranda Lambert will set fire to you. So she kind of gets me fired up. Um, then, I mean, I've got stuff like Van Morrison, um, uh, just all the good Led Zeppelin, you know. But then I've also got some Hank Williams Sr. and I got Christina Aguilera, that song "Fighter." You know what I mean? Some of those like cheesy poppy "I'm a Strong Woman" songs get me up to the top of climbs. You know. Also that Seven Nation Army song. If I'm climbing a hill, that one works. But yeah, I have such a huge um, variety of music, and I've thought about that. Like maybe each section I should post what song I listened to most or which one inspired me most or something like that. But so let's see. Besides bear spray, what are some other gear choices, either gear you carry now or will pick up later on, you've made that are different from the PCT? Okay, so the first thing I can tell you is I got sun gloves here lately. The outdoor research sun gloves, because I just noticed my hands are getting like more and more leathery, for back of a letter, lack of a better term. And I don't know, I'm like 32 now, so I'm like, maybe I should take better, better covers my face and stuff like that. So also, I've got possum down gloves, and I had those on the PCT, and then I lost one on Mount Whitney, and I didn't use them anymore. So I've been using those in this entire stretch, and last stretch, and for a while, since I got in the San Juans. And then I've got these rain gloves, and luckily I haven't had to use them yet. But I got these gloves that are for the rain, and Andrew Skirka recommends them. And actually, Lloyd asked a question about that. He posted a question before and asked if I ever found a pair of gloves that worked for me, because I couldn't, I didn't really have on the PCT a good pair of gloves. So I was like, what should I use? So some down gloves that I got from Z-Packs. You can get them on Amazon, I think. And then they're these blue. Let me grab them real quick. I'm back. Okay, so they're like these blue Showa gloves is what they're called. I mean, they're not cute. It looks like you're about to, you know, I don't know, murder Roger Rabbit. Like, isn't that guy that tried to like put Roger Rabbit in the acid tank? Didn't he have like gloves? They were probably yellow though. But anyway, so these are, I've heard great things about him. Like I said, Andrew Skirka. He's a guy that's gone on like adventures across Alaska that he created himself. He suggested these. So I've got the possum down gloves to keep warm, like insulating gloves, and then these are Showa Timorous 281. So anyway, I haven't had to use them yet, thankfully, because I haven't gotten poured on. But I decided that I was so miserable with my hands freezing in the cold rain. So I think especially up in Montana, if we get some bad weather, that'll help. But they're very light, so worth it. Worth it for the security. So those are the main things that I can tell you about off the top of my head. So that are different from last year. How do you like the June Smooth 3? I ordered a similar gimbal and can't wait to try it out. So I've used it a little bit, and I like it from what I've used it. Aaron uses it more than I do, and I use the drone more than Aaron does. So it's kind of like we have our thing. But sometimes I'll be like, "Oh, Aaron, that would be a cool shot with the June gimbal," and then sometimes he's like, "Oh, Dixie, this would be a cool shot with the drone, if we did this." And so I guess we both like implement ideas with these tools, but most of the time he's using the gimbal, and most of the time I'm using the drone. So you know, but I think we're gonna do a thing where one section we swap, and then that way the other person gets to get used to it. Because I think when I go on like filling in the fire closure holes with my mom next year, next summer, that I will take a gimbal with me because it's just amazing. I'm pretty steady for freehanding, but that thing just allows for some great shots. So if y'all aren't familiar with what a gimbal is, it just basically stabilizes. Like, the best way I can describe it, and what I said to Aaron, was you can set it to where you move it, and it's kind of like a chicken's head. You know, you can move their body around, and their head like stays in the same spot. That's what a gimbal makes me think of. But okay, let's see. Make sure you hit Lander, Wyoming once you get to the Wind River Range. It's an amazing little town. Yeah, I think that there are options. I think it's like, you will. So I've heard about that one. So I'm glad to hear you say that it's good, cuz that one has been suggested to me before. So it must be a pretty cool place. Ann says, "Hi Dixie, yes, we Coloradans are representing tonight. Yeah, y'all are, and I don't blame y'all for wanting to represent the state, because I think my heart was born here, and then it was put in my body, because I do love this state. I think it's amazing, and it's one of the first places where I truly felt like I was becoming who I am. I mean, you always are who you are, right? But like, it's the first place where I wasn't near any of my family, and I did, this is going to sound really selfish, but I did everything that I wanted to do when I wanted to do it, because with me, I'm very close to my family, and they're very important to me. So when, I moved to Alabama, I think I may have mentioned this before, but I moved to Alabama when I was 14, by myself, to take care of my grandparents. And it wasn't like my mom said, well, you get to go do this now. It was just kind of like my nanny got sick and was in the hospital, and for a long time, and my papa was basically blind and deaf and had emphysema, so he couldn't drive. And so I told my mom, because I used to come up and help them every summer, and I told my mom, I said, well, why don't I go up there and start school up there, and then whenever either nanny gets well, or y'all figure out what's going on and y'all move up to Alabama, I'll be fine. Like, I know how to make food, I know how to do everything. I just can't drive, but I knew I could walk to the grocery store nearby and all that. So I did. So I grew up pretty fast, and I started taking care of my grandparents, and I was there for a little over a year by myself with them before the rest of my family came up. And then, it's like every weekend, I'm from a big family, so every weekend somebody's got a birthday or a graduation or a beauty pageant or something. And so, you're always running and doing stuff like that because you want to and you love them. But so being in Colorado, it was the first time where I was like, what do I do? Like, I'm here with my dogs, but I don't know anybody, and I don't have family here. And, my whole life I've been with them and helping take care of them and whatever, now I don't know what to do with myself. So I really grew a lot as a person there. And that's when I decided I was about to go hike the Appalachian Trail. And so it's really nice to be back in the state. It's kind of like full circle. But anyway, I'm just rambling now. So let's see. Let's see what the next question is, and make sure I answered that one properly. Yeah, that wasn't even a question. I'm just rambling. Okay. Hey, Dixie, have made any changes to your clothes, gear, and higher elevations yet? Not really, except just getting those possum down gloves in and being able to wear them at night, because it gets cold at night still up at 12,000 feet or higher. I've camped at least at 10,000 pretty much since I've been back on trail. So it's still getting chilly at night, and when my hands are cold, I am an unhappy person. So the possum down gloves are good. Also, how are you feeling mentally, physically, spiritually, etc.? So really good, actually. This last stretch, I felt great physically. It was tough getting over right about 21 miles. I was like, okay, I worked pretty hard for that, so anything over about 21 was pretty tough. this last stretch, but we had Lake Ann Pass and Hope Pass, and if y'all have ever been in this area, you'll know that both of those are beasts. And so it was, pretty tough, but I feel good, and I'm ready to hike out first thing in the morning. I'm not even gonna wait till checkout time. I'm just gonna go first thing. Um, so yeah, I do feel good. Spiritually, yes, feeling good. Mentally, feeling good. So I do. I feel great, and thank you for asking about that. Andrew says hi from the UK. That it is so cool to me that like the internet, right? Like all these people are connected in this one spot right now, and we're just all over the place. I don't know. That's awesome to me. Dixie, at your current pace, when would you finish? It's a great question because there are still different alternates and different yada yada. So if I do like 20 miles a day or so, I think right now with no zeros, right, and just 20, so no more than that. I think I would finish like the 23rd or something like that if I had, because I'm at mile 1100 something. So if I had like 2,000 miles left, I can't remember. I've been doing the math, and it's less than a 25 mile per day average. Okay, there we go. That took a little minute to get out, a little bit to get out. Wow, I can't talk. Okay, but anyway, so I think I would like to finish September 20th, September 23rd, something like that. But there are some lower routes if I had to. Or maybe I could come back and like snowshoe in the spring. I don't know. But I'm not going to worry about that right now. I'm just going to keep trucking along. And when I get to Wyoming and I'm in the basin, I might do another 24-hour challenge. I don't know yet. But it would be really cool to just kind of stretch my legs when I get to some flatter elevation and make up some miles, So, okay, let's see. Let's see. I'm 8 minutes late, so not sure if you have answered this or not. Oh, no worries. I was wondering why you guys changed the video title format for the CDT. I love the PCT series one a lot, especially the Year of Fire and Ice. Yeah, so I have that written down here. So that one that you're talking about is the documentary, I believe, for the PCT. So Aaron, I've got like the individual series, like the individual episodes, and then he did like one documentary thing, if you want to call it that. So it's just a big compilation of some of that stuff, and that was one called that. But he started, like, if you look, he just kind of flipped it around. So he started writing like a title, like this last one is I think I was betrayed by my face, or my face betrayed me. And it's like written on the thumbnail, but as far as the text that you click on, the title, he put the town because or the ending point of the video, because a lot of people were wanting to know. And then when a lot of people search for a section or a part of a trail like the CDT, they might search for, Pie Town, or, so it kind of makes it a little bit more searchable, is the main reason that we changed it. But if you look, there's still like that, I don't even want to say funny or creative, because they might not be funny and creative, but, like the mountain lion, and then this past one was my face betrayed me, and, so we just kind of flipped it around, because before he had the ending point on the thumbnail, and now it's the title. So, but anyway, that's a good question. Let's see. Okay. Speaking of mosquitoes, was your fleece sleeping sack on the AT thick enough to prevent bites? I want to say it depends on how aggressive they are. I would say that if I'm in a spot that has a high concentration of mosquitoes, I'm not going to cowboy camp. And if I'm in my tent, then if I see a bunch of mosquitoes all around, then I just have a mosquito massacre, like in my tent. If they're in my tent, I just swat all of them. And so I don't recall like getting bit up by mosquitoes while I was trying to sleep, because if I see, like I said, if I sit down in the spot and several mosquitoes land on me, I'm sleeping in my tent. There's no way I'm in a cowboy camp. So I don't know for sure that it was sick enough, but I'll say that I don't remember being attacked in my sleep through that while cowboy camping. So if that helps at all. Okay, so let's see. The White Stripes, yeah, that's what that song was that I was talking about. Dun, 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 dun. And actually, that I'm not gonna cry this time, but my friend that I was talking about, the last Q&A that committed suicide before I started the CDT. I remember one time being out shooting pool with him and like him like getting into that song. And I remember asking him at that point, like, what is the name of this song? You know, I hear it and I know who sings it and everything, but and him telling me, and I think it was like that night that I downloaded it, you know. And so every time I hear that, I kind of think about him. So that's kind of cool. Let's see. How is your elevation, or how is your high elevation adjustment going? Much better. I mean, don't get me wrong, when I'm climbing 1,200 feet per mile on a pass, I can't breathe and I stop and take a lot of breaks, but for the most part, I am, you know, and am doing well, and I think I'm adjusted to where I was before I left to go home for graduation, or even better. Oh, somebody liked my Murder Roger Rabbit thing. I mean, tell me it doesn't look like that, like the creepy man that, you know. Anyway, um, let's see. Which brand of freeze dried food do you like best? I really like those Paleos to go. Those are really good. Um, but you know, there are a lot of good options out there. But I mean, most of the time I'm just getting Backpackers Pantry or um, but oh, Mary Jane's Farm has some good stuff too. Most of it is um, vegan and vegetarian, but sometimes I'll have like freeze dried ground beef that I could throw in there. But you know, for the folks who are vegan or vegetarian, then that's a great option. So I just like food. But a lot of times I'm getting Mountain House or Backpackers Pantry because that's what places have. So um, what would you think about someone hiking the CDT before the PCT? Is that advisable or a bad idea? Based on all you know from the trails and also Aaron's experience. So I've met several people out here that the CDT is their first through hike and they're fine. I think Aaron, he just has a run of bad luck, I think. But yeah, I certainly, you know, you'll read, and I was talking to a girl named Casper that I ran into in this last stretch, and she was like, you know, everything I read was horror stories about, you know, don't do the CDT as your first hike, you'll die. And I mean, I can't deny that the AT is certainly more forgiving of a trail. I mean, people just do the silliest stuff, you know, hike all the way in Crocs, or, you know, you just see people packing out a case of beer, or, you know, some ridiculous things that nobody would do when they're as exposed to the sun and the elements and the wind and not as much water. And, you know, so but if it's the trail that you want to do first, there are people out here who are in that boat and this is their first trail. So don't let anybody scare you and let you, you know, and say like, oh, you can't do it. Because you know what? What would you do if you were going to prepare for a through hike of the CDT? You might come out and do a section hike of the CDT, right? I mean, that makes sense. Well, a through hike is just a bunch of section hikes woven together. That's all it is. I just did a section hike this past 4 days, right? From Monarch Pass to here. And then I got to town, and now if I had any injuries, if I had any, you know, thing that I absolutely needed, I'm in town and I can figure out a way to get it. So that's all it is. So if you're gonna go out and do a section hike, you'll be all right. On a through hike is what I'm saying. So don't let people scare you. Let's see. Um, do you celebrate 4th of July on the trail? If we're in a town, we do. You know, it's funny. I thought about that the other day. So let's see. We've got what, 7 days? Oh, that's like the ring. 7 days. So I'm not sure. We may be on trail, and if we're on trail, maybe we'll be up on a mountain peak that we can watch somebody somewhere shooting off fireworks if they're allowed to. I don't know if that rain was enough to allow fireworks, but so yeah, if we're somewhere, then we definitely do. Last year I didn't see diddly squat, but you know, it's just the way it is. So on the AT, I went to Washington D.C. and I got to look at the Declaration of Independence on Independence Day, and that was so cool. I stood in the rain to see that Joker on that day. I was like, this is so epic. You know, it's so cliche, but it was epic. And then I saw what's his name? Oh man, I'm killing the joke. Nicolas Cage. Then I saw Nicolas Cage running through there. I'm just kidding. Okay, let's see. Your videos at times are pretty epic in cinematic quality. You have developed such a good eye, and Aaron's work is spot on. I think you are better than you. Well, thank you, Mike. I appreciate that. I had somebody ask me today, are you sick of videoing yet on the trail? And I was like, no, I'm not. I love to capture stuff, and I've got a little camera now other than my iPhone, and I'm so um, uneducated when it comes to actual like good photography and filmography that I can't even tell you what the name of it is. But anyway, I got it because it has good slow mo. And at the beginning of this video that just posted today, the butterfly flying, I mean, like you could see the wings like bending, and I was just like, oh. So I'm still working on it, and like the F number and the ISO and all. Aaron knows a little bit more, well, a lot more than I do about all that. So I'm trying to learn more, and I certainly I don't know, I just love it. It's like art to me. It's like somebody that has to write a song because it's in their head, or somebody that has to paint a picture because they're just drawn to it. That's how I feel about being out here and capturing the critters and the flowers, and instead of just telling you like, oh, it's been really windy, like showing you how windy it is by videoing the bushes whipping around, stuff like that. So I don't know, it's like a puzzle. It's just fun. It's like, how do I put this together so that people can get the vibe of what I'm feeling and experiencing right now? So, let's see. Hi from Pittsburgh. Would you recommend the lace locks? Yes. Yes, I would. And since I've had those, I realize how much I tell other people, and there aren't even that many other people out here, but, oh, your shoes are untied, because, it is really bad to trip on your own shoelaces and fall. And so, just not having to fool with tying shoes. I never adjust the tightness of it, literally where they're at. I just leave them, and I can slide them on and slide them off. I love those things, and they're only like, I don't even think they're $10. I can't remember exactly, um, but yeah, I really do like them a lot. Does the cold and the lock laces, in case y'all don't know, they're just these laces that you relace. It's like elastic cording, really, that's got like a little slide deal. So I'm probably not explaining well, but if you Google lock laces, you'll see what I'm talking about. So let's see. Does the cold and high elevation mess with your stove fuel, such as pressure problems? Is it tough to find fuel in these random resupply towns? Thank you. Your videos are the best. Tony, somehow I've managed to get fuel pretty much every town, but I've also tried to conserve how much I use by not cooking at lunch. But most of the towns where I've been like, all right, well, I'm on empty, I find it. Or, I find another one in a hiker box. Or there's a trail angel who has either sold me one randomly when I needed it. He showed up, and then he refilled one of mine one time. So luckily, yeah, I've managed, and I've been leaving notes and gut hooks like, this town has fuel, because I always wonder. And resupplying with non-cook stuff is just harder for me because I hate it. So yeah, it's been all right. They've kind of started really learning what hikers want, and as far as pressure problems, I do think that I notice when I put the stove on and when I take it off, it does spew more so than not, and certainly things take longer to cook at a higher elevation. So I am using more fuel than I would. So there is more fuel consumption, but it's been fine. So. How old were you when you moved to Alabama to care for your grandparents? The feed was cutting out on my end. Thank you for telling us that story. That's awesome that you did that. I was 14, so I couldn't drive yet, but yeah, it was good times though. I certainly don't regret a single thing about that time. I got some very quality time with my grandparents, and I've got pictures of them, because there's not a whole lot that an 84-year-old man and a 14-year-old girl have in common, but I got out there and helped him plant that garden. Now, we put those tomatoes in a row. I mean, we staked these little stakes in the ground and tied this string to make sure that, you know, the tomatoes were in a perfectly straight row. And I was just like, this is so ridiculous. Y'all should see the way I do my garden now. I literally sketch it on graphing paper, engineering graphing paper, and like to scale and like do a diagram of what I'm so OCD when it comes to it. My papa would be so proud. But and we did agree on like Hank Williams Sr.'s music, so that was good. And I have pictures of them where I've got them holding, you know, those old portable CD players with headphones on, and they're just like, what music comes out of the, you know, and then like them seeing me on my computer, and my papa would be like, what are you doing on that computer over there, you know, and I'm like, Papa, I'm on Napster, you know, and he's like, what's that? And so just, or I'd be like, I'm talking to people, and he's like, how are you talking to people, you know? I don't know. So it was really a cool time, and I cherish all of those memories. So I don't regret it at all. Uh, okay, let's see. Um, let's see. Uh, when you hike grays, will you slack pack? I would think that carrying a full pack up a 14er would be difficult. No, I'll go because like the trail actually goes up and over it and then down it. So I'll have to take the whole shebang. But you're right, that'll be the first 14er that I've carried a full pack because up on Whitney I just slacked up there. But this one, like the trail actually goes up and over it, and that's why I don't want to miss it. For sure. So the skeeters in Texas wear tennis shoes. Yeah, I say they're like pterodactyls in Alabama. What is the one thing about the trail you would change up to this point? The wind. The wind. The wind is like, oh, I'm gonna be calm while you're down in the trees, and then oh, huh, you got above tree line when we blow you off the mountain. So, yeah, probably the wind if I could just magically change that, but you know, it's part of it. So, um, do y'all remember a singer called Billy Dean? It was like country's 90s, you know, kind of 90s garbage country music that's like still so good. He had this song called It's Only the Wind, and every time the wind blows, I kind of think about that, and also Colors of the Wind, Pocahontas. But okay, is it ever hard to not get overwhelmed by how much farther you have to go to reach the end? Yes, that gets very difficult. And as I was sitting on my couch healing up with my face, you know, and everyone's like, oh, let it heal, let it heal. I'm like, no, but Canada and the snow. And yeah, I mean, and Perk he's like 4 days ahead and he's like freaking out about it already. And I'm like, Perk, we're not even in Wyoming yet. There will be flatter ground. We can go more miles. You know, it's just, and the thing is, ignorance is bliss. So your first through hike, you're like, oh, I got this. Like, I'll get there. And then once you feel that dream almost taken away from you by early snow or luckily late snow, then you know that feeling and you don't want it to happen, and you're aware of that possibility the whole time. So um, let's see. Sorry, y'all are asking some good questions, so I gotta scroll. Do you know how much your pack weighs now? No, I don't. I could do one of those lighter packs things and figure it out, but yeah, a lot of these towns on the AT they had scales in like every town, but um, I haven't seen any out here, so I kind of don't want to know. Sometimes it's better to just be like, it is what it is. And I'm trying to think. Most lately that I'm on multi-purpose, I've been using my clothes sack and putting my rain clothes in it and using it as a pillow. I've never wanted a pillow. I've never cared about pillows, but for some reason this hike, just being able to do that and put my head on it, feels pretty good. So I guess I would say that. It's kind of strange because I would never have guessed that I would pick that, but it's immediately what I thought of when you asked that. So, and Hannah says it's buffering and better now. Hopefully it won't keep doing that. At least we're able to talk some, unlike the other town. I still am, so seem to have the ability to be in the moment. Is this something you had to learn to do, or does the trail give you more opportunities to be there? It is definitely. I do think that on the AT, it took me some time to adjust to that because I remember being like, no, we have to wake up and we have to hike and then we have to go to sleep and it's like our job. And so it was almost like this militant thing. And I had to break away and go, no, like, I just need to be here. But like I said, knowing now that that can be taken away, the dream of like finishing a hike, and especially now the Triple Crown. On this trail, I'm having to remind myself of that more. So it's pretty interesting. The AT, I started off that way, and then I was just totally, kind of in the moment. And the PCT, I felt like, I was pretty much in the moment. But yeah, this one, it's been like, I feel like there's so much at stake now. Like this thing that it's not just a through hike, it's this thing that I've been working on completing for 3 to 4 years now. And so there's just so much more. So I'm still working on it. But I definitely, I go back and forth, for sure. So I am much better than I was before I started hiking. I'll say that. So, um, okay, let's see. Do you carry a flare? I don't. I do not carry a flare. Louis L'Amour recommendation, Lonesome Gods. Awesome. I appreciate that. One of my favorite ones is Cherokee Trail and Guns of the Timberlands. But right now I'm going through all of the Sackets. So I'm about to start. I got through the I think the first three. Yeah, the first three, because the first two are Barnabas Sackett, and then the third one is from Ken's standpoint, his son. But anyway, so yeah, I'm about to start the fourth one. But I love Louis L'Amour. Thank you for all you share with us. I appreciate you, especially your accent. Keep on hiking. Or no, you said keep on keeping on. It's funny because a lot of folks I'll run into and they're like, "Where are you from?" And I'm like, "Alabama." And they're like, "Oh, you don't have an accent." And I was like, "Oh, well, that's funny." Some people say I do. Some people say I don't. I think it's like muddied with living in Florida and living in Colorado and living, on the trail, and and then it pops out, when you got to get sassy, it pops out more than other times. So anyway, so thank you, I appreciate that. Let's see, Dixie, I'm hiking the Smokies in September. I'm confused. Can't you pitch your tent? I was reading only. So in the Smokies, if you are section hiking, you have to stay at a shelter. And so that means if you walk up to the shelter late and there are people all in there, um, the last one in that's a through hiker has to get out and go camp. Now, you can stay here through hiking, at that point in September. Have some southbounders there, but probably not. And the Nobos will be well past there. They're not going to make it to Katahdin in time. So, the shelter shouldn't be too crazy full. And I mean, you can do it, and what do they do? Ticket you. You could tell them you're doing a flip flop. That's just up to you how you want to deal with that with your conscience. But they still require that you camp at a shelter. So, anyway, let's see. What do you tell yourself when the hike/road gets too hard? I'm hiking to a peak this weekend to train for Mount Whitney. I'm kind of worried that I won't make it. All right, but you have to remind yourself that, like, the fact that you're trying, that you're even getting out there and doing something, most of the people are going to do, and so the fact that you're getting out there, even if you don't do it, you've accomplished a lot by getting out there and trying. So try to take some of that pressure off yourself. And right, I need to practice what I preach, because here I was just talking about like that stress of not making it. But also, I always tell myself, like, when I stop and take a break and I'm like, oh, breathing hard, I'm like, well, this mountain ain't gonna hack itself. And then I just like start going, or like, Canada ain't gonna come to me. And I mean, all you can do is literally do the best you can. That's all you can do. If you go out there and you do the best you can and you don't make it, then you try again, and then you try again, and then you try again. And either you'll finally conquer it, or you'll realize it's not as big of a priority as you thought it was. So I think that you'll do just fine, and either way, you're getting out there and training for something that you want to do. You're training, so it's okay to fail. You're training. It's not even Whitney yet. So just try to get your mind right and tell yourself, I'm gonna do the best I can, and this mountain ain't gonna climb itself. And then just push on. And yeah, maybe write some things down, a list of like why it's important to you to do this, and like what you feel you will gain from this. And then when you're on that climb, take that list out and go, okay, yeah, this is why I want to do it. And maybe that will help you some too. So but good luck, and I'm sure that you'll do just fine. But let me know how that goes for you. Okay, let's see. Diana says, "Hey Dixie, oh that reminds me. One of the other songs that I've been listening to a lot is Dirty Michael Jackson. Not being not to offend you because your name's Diana, but I do like that song. I think that's my favorite Michael Jackson song. But anyway, hey Dixie, Cheyenne, my 8-year-old saw your feet and was wondering how they are feeling. They're feeling good. Thank you, Cheyenne, for asking. They tend to swell up when I get to town. It's kind of funny. It's like they're my body thinks that it can just start decomposing when I get to town. It's like, oh, oh, she's in town, so now we don't have to do anything, and now we can just swell up and whatever. But I mean, they're doing all right. They're hanging in there. A little gross still, even though I've bathed. But yeah, thank you for asking. Plantar fasciitis, haven't had any issues. I do think that I might have an ingrown toenail that kind of hurts a little bit, but um, it's just gonna have to figure something out because we're trucking to Canada. So, but yeah, I appreciate you asking that, Cheyenne. Douglas said, "Thanks so much for the huge effort you make to take all of us along on your hike. Wednesday at 5 p.m. is the high point of the week. From Wetumpka, War Eagle, awesome! Well, thank you for saying that. I'm glad that you've been enjoying the videos, and it's really cool to have some folks from back home. Wetumpka, for those of y'all who don't know, is pretty close to Opelika. And can you tell it's like some Native American history there? Wetumpka, Opelika. But anyway, so what is it, like 40 minutes or so or something like that down the road. But anyhow, that's really cool. It's nice to know that folks back home are watching. So I appreciate you cheering me on and being here to support this. So okay, Wayne says, such an engineer. Yeah, guilty. How many days does your fuel canister typically last you on the AT? And then there at elevation, do you carry the smaller ones? So I do prefer the smaller ones. And they last, I know that a small one will last me 5 days here. Maybe if I do 3 meals a day, but it's gonna be close to running out. So, but on the AT, it definitely lasts me 5. So it's not like a huge difference, but I would say maybe I notice like a day less of fuel. But the thing is, it depends on how often you're cooking. How many meals a day. So it's hard to say because I've never like marked on the can meals and how many meals I'm using, and I didn't do that on the AT. Really, that's something I probably should have done. So, but if I'm in a 5-day stretch and I know I'm only cooking 2 meals a day, then I know that small fuel can is gonna last me. And I prefer the small ones because they weigh less. So it's probably not the most cost effective way, but let's see. Um, let's see. Okay. Dixie, have you thought of trying a trail for FKT to challenge your limits? We Patreon members can be your support team. Oh, yes, actually, not of like the AT or the PCT or anything like that, but last I knew, when I started the CDT, why can I not think of it? The Pinhoti Trail. So in my state, nobody had ever done an FKT of that. Then I saw an announcement of a fellow who was going to attempt to do one this year. So I just thought, well, that'll just give me a number that I need to beat when I decide to do it. So I had talked about doing it once, like as soon as I get done with this trail, which is kind of cheating, but I'm like, it's a 6-month training experience, But being at the high elevation and everything, I feel like would help. And so I'm not completely set on that. We'll see as it gets closer. But if I can finish this trail and then rush home and do an FKT of the Pinhoti, that would be kind of cool. I mean, it's not very long, but it's my home state, so why not? And I don't know. I think it would be fun. Bet you don't have any mosquitoes above tree line. With the wind, they can't live up there. So yeah, I haven't really had any issues with that. Hi, heading out to Thousand Island Lakes with our 3 kids mid-July. I have the Nemo sleeping pad and it's so loud. Any thoughts on a comfy pad? I know the Neolite is loud too. Yeah, the Neolite is loud. What is the one? Is it the something ped? Darn, why can't I think of it? It's actually filled with down. Now it's gonna be heavy. Xped, maybe that's what it's called. Xped. I don't know if that one's loud, but it might not, be as loud. But as far as inflatables, you could look into that. Maybe Wanderlust Backpacking Forum on Facebook. So it's Homemade Wanderlust Backpacking Forum group on Facebook, and post that question in there because there are like 20,000 people in there. So the only ones that I've tried are non-inflatable, so the foam ones, and then the Neo Air Extra Light. So I don't have any experience, but other people certainly will have an opinion and have some suggestions. Wow. Okay. But that's really cool that y'all are going out there. And will y'all be backpacking, or will y'all be just like car camping? Because if weight is not as much of an issue, then yeah, the Xped might be okay. I can't remember if it's loud or not. But Canada, my favorite quote, need to make a shirt. Yeah, so Montana is starting to work on some designs and stuff. So I talked to her today. My little sister, she's gonna do something. But I love that. Yeah, that would be good for some PCT or CDT through hackers for sure. Um, what is the most memorable moment so far on this hike? The mountain lion, 100% for sure the mountain lion. And what is the most unexpected thing you learned about yourself this hike? Um, mm, I don't know. As far as the learning about myself, I would say that I would say that in this last stretch, I've certainly learned that I enjoy hiking alone. So I enjoy actually walking alone and being alone with my thoughts. But I haven't camped with anyone except like one time in the last 2 weeks. So, but I certainly do enjoy camping with people. So I'd say that that's probably something that I've definitely learned about myself. So, um, Cheyenne said she likes your hair and that you look like Rapunzel. Oh, tell her she's so sweet. It's looks like nappy Rapunzel right now. Like Rapunzel went to the beach and a year ago and never washed it afterwards. But I did wash it yesterday. But tell her thank you, and that it's taken a long time to grow this mop out, but slowly but surely it's getting there. So tell her she can have Rapunzel hair too, if she grows it out. And mom says it's okay, of course. So so awesome that you got to go into DC on Independence Day. I used to live near there. I only ventured down there once or twice for July 4th. So sounds so memorable on an AT through hike. It really was. It was really a great experience. Love your philosophy of we're in training. Inspires us towards goals we might never try. Thanks for tonight's session. All the best. Thank you. Yeah, I mean we are, right? Like it's true. And all you can do is what makes you happy, and that's all you should do. So, do you have any gear that will complete the Triple Crown with you? Yes, my food pot, and let's see. Um, yeah, that might be it. Like as far as Lloyd mentioned something about my puffy, but that was only the PCT and the CDT, so it may just be my food pot. Wow. That thing's ragged too. It's like the grease pot. I use aluminum grease pot, which I know you're not supposed to use aluminum, but I think that might be it. I'll have to think on that. I'm like looking around at stuff on me, earrings. I guess that's not really gear though. So yeah, I think that's the only thing. That's kind of sad, but we've been together a long time. Um, let's see. Hello from Decatur, Morgan County. That's awesome. Oh, FKT. Doug says FKT question mark. Okay, so thank you for asking that, and I'm glad that people aren't afraid to ask questions like that because you get this lingo and you're like, oh, everyone knows what I'm talking about. So FKT is fastest known time, and I don't know if y'all saw in that status. I was like, what does PS stand for anyway? I know I could have Googled it, but like, I don't know. It's fun to I've noticed that's one thing I like to do on trail. We think about things and we're like, man, we would be just Googling it right now. But since we don't have service, we're like trying to figure out an answer. And one day, this is kind of gross, but one day we were talking about would eating your own skin, like, why would you do that? But like, if your face was peeling, you had a sunburn or something, and you ate it, would that be like cannibalism? I mean, that's kind of weird, right? And we were arguing because I'd told my mom when I got the inReach that I was going to message her and ask her to Google things for me, like if we were having a debate, since we wouldn't have service to do it. And I was like, wouldn't that be so so wrong if I were to message my mom on the inReach and be like, Mom, will you, because I think I finally came down to, well, we have to look up the definition of cannibalism. And so I said, wouldn't it be wrong for me to message her and say, could you please send me the definition of cannibalism? And she'd be like, what? What's going on out there? You know? So kind of gross and weird, but that was one thing that in the desert we were talking about. So anyway, yeah, that's one of the weird things that hikers talk about, that and poop. So, okay, love your videos better than TV. Thank you, Peter. I'm glad that you like them. And I really do enjoy being out here and capturing this stuff, and I couldn't be doing it without y'all. So thank y'all seriously very much. I know I say that all the time, and it sounds like it's hollow and it means nothing, but like I am extremely grateful for all the support that I've gotten from y'all. I also follow a guy named Darwin on the trail. He did the Pinhoti recently and has videos about his trek. Yep, I've heard of Darwin. Actually, when he went there, he asked me like, "Hey, will you be in town? And you know, we should meet up near the Pinhoti trailhead." But I was actually out of town. So when will we be heading overseas to hike? Honestly, I don't know that it would be next year, but if I did, it would probably be like the T Aurora. I don't think I'm saying that right by New Zealand standards. So I need to really like Google the pronunciation of that, but that's how folks, you know, around here say Te Aurora. But anyhow, the New Zealand trail. That might be one that I do first, and that would be done in the winter, so I could do it next year. But I don't know, we'll see. And then also the Camino would be really cool. So in the next year or so, let's see. If you FKT the Pinhoti, would you go self-supported or use a support team? Oh, that's a really good question. I haven't honestly really even thought about that. My initial thought is self-supported. Because I don't know, that's just kind of how I feel I would do it. But I don't know. That's a really good question. Because I'm not a runner, you know what I mean? Like, I can walk for hours and hours and hours and not fall down and die. But so I would think self-supported, because to set like a decent record for the supported, I would have to be like literally running the whole time. And but I mean, you know, if there's no record, it's the first one set. It is what it is, you know. Records are made to be broken, right? So yeah. Jim says collapsible cup. Yeah, I've had that on every hike, but it's not been the same exact one. So are you still packing Sugar Bell's collar? Bet you fell in love with Ragnar. Yeah, no, I was so worried about something happening to it, even on the AT. So you know, she finished the AT with me, and then after that, it's sitting on a shelf at home with a picture of her, actually drawing of her. So, but yeah, Rags was my buddy, Ragnar, and every time I see a dog on trail, I'm just like, oh, I love them so much. So okay, let's see. T Aurora. See, I knew it spelled like that, but what Michelle just wrote here is my local trail. Hoping to hike it this year. Oh, that's so cool. Yeah. So I need to get some pointers from you. If not, maybe catch you on the trail next year. You're such an inspiring woman, Dixie. Looking forward to your upcoming videos and Q&A. Thank you, Michelle, and I'm so glad that you were able to tune in. But yeah, seriously, if you end up doing it this year, then I'd love to trade notes with you for sure. So I think you did 65 miles in 24 hours on the PCT. So how many of them for the Pinhoti? I did 62. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not. I don't even know exactly how long the Pinhoti trail is. That's what I'm saying. I haven't like thoroughly sat down and given this a long thought. But I think it's something that, you know, when I'm on the way home, I'm either gonna be like, yep, I'm doing it, or, you know, nah, I don't really feel like it. But I think I'm leaning. I don't know. We'll see. I still have 2,000 miles to hike on this trail. So, okay, so here we go. Here's the pronunciation of the trail. T-R-A-R-O-A. T-R-A-R-O-A. Did I say that right? A-H is ah, I guess. Okay. Let's see. My sister has a hair salon in Birmingham, so you're covered when you get home. Good night. Be safe and say hi to Aaron. I will. Yeah, this ratty mess. But it looks like Rapunzel, Cheyenne said. So, so let's see. Shelly says, hey, Dixie, glad your tooth is doing okay and really enjoying the videos. Well, thank you, Shelly, and I'm so glad. Like, that was so awful going uphill and it would just throb. Wondering what the ring on your thumb is, where did you get it? I don't have the one on my thumb anymore. I lost it, and I have no idea. It was like in my house one day. I woke up and I was like, "Where's my ring?" And I don't know. And I've looked for one just like it, can't find one. Diana says, speaking of dogs, how is Katana? She's doing well. She's pretty much blind in her last eye. So that is Kyle's dog. For those of y'all who don't know, that he hiked with, or Mayor, better known as Mayor, on the trail. So she lost one of her eyes to glaucoma on the PCT, and she's pretty much gone blind in the second one, which is why he is not hiking the trail this year. But she hasn't had it removed yet, because she can kind of still see shadows and stuff like that, and he just doesn't want to take it from her until it's causing her pain. But otherwise she's doing very well. Spoiled brat. Oh, and Michelle says perfect, so I said it right. Great. Speaking of OCD, your video is mirrored. Patch on your shirt is backward, and on your right side, yeah, yeah, that happens because I've got it in selfie mode. That way I can tell that my face is actually in the frame, and I'm not like, okay, so the question now is, and also I have to be able to see the screen to see y'all's questions, so my phone is in selfie mode. But yeah, so my part's really on the other side, and my, whatever, yeah. Pinhoti is about 335 miles, something to think about. Yeah, it's really not that bad. Could probably knock her out, and like I said, the elevation will be on my side. So okay, so I've got a list of questions here, and actually some of them we've already answered because some folks tuned in. So let's see, we got that first one. All right, do you ever use gaiters? So I tried them on the PCT because I thought, in the desert would be a good place to use them. And no, I just don't like having something else to fool with, something else to wash in town, and then like the little hooks get hung on stuff. And I think some people just walk differently than others to where they get more junk in their shoes. Now, one time that I think I could actually put them to use is in the snow, and I posted a picture on Instagram today of my Achilles kind of tore up. When I hike in ankle socks in the snow gets in there and just kind of is like abrasive on my skin. But what I did is I just hiked in my sleeping socks and slept in my hiking socks. So because my sleeping socks are longer. But okay, let's see. This was Lloyd's question. Is your puffy and grease pot going to in a shrine or museum when you're done with the triple? But I think just the grease pot. It won't go in a shrine, but except on a shelf at my house. Maybe I'll somehow decorate it creatively or something, who knows. Okay, if you haven't messed in your pants yet, have you at least lost some gear? Just don't lose your phone. So basically, I think Lloyd was saying it doesn't seem like me because I hadn't gotten extremely lost, and I haven't my pants, and I haven't really lost any gear. So yeah, well, so this is probably TMI, but when I was home for graduation, I actually did trust a poot a little too much, and I was sitting there talking to Kyle, and I was just like, "Whoa," and I was like, "Ugh," and he was like, "I can't believe you. Like, what is wrong with you?" And so, yeah, I haven't on trail, but I have during this CDT trek. I don't know why I tell you all the things I do, but anyway, so no, I haven't lost anything though, and I haven't really gotten lost. I've sidetracked like a mile because I was walking down a dirt road and didn't notice where it turned off, but maybe I'm just getting good at this finally, Lloyd. And now watch, I'll like lose something and it'll be detrimental. But so the PCT or the CDT is certainly easier to get turned around on though, but if you have gut hooks, you're good. How has your experience shooting, editing, and posting videos, how has it differed from the PCT for both you and Aaron? And are there things you're enjoying more or less? This is actually a really good question. So as far as shooting, I think, I am trying to find new things, and trying to use different techniques like a different camera and for some of the slow motion stuff and things like that. But most of the difference comes in on Aaron's part because he's here this year. And before, I would get to town and I would have to upload videos to Dropbox. Like, that was my main goal. Get to town, upload videos. Get to town, upload videos. And now I can put it either directly on his computer or on a little chip. And you know, he takes the chip. So we've got a good system going with that. But, you know, Aaron is out here and he's shooting some footage. So I don't know, you know, if y'all have noticed, I've been in the videos more than just like selfie mode where I'm talking to the camera. So that has helped because Aaron is here. And you know, he gets some shots, and certainly the editing part, I can't speak for him, but I would say that him being out here, he understands what each stretch actually feels like. You know, it's one thing to like tell somebody, but when they experience too. So not only am I trying to capture that in the way I video and I record, but he's trying to capture that in the way that he edits too. So if that makes any sense. But yeah, the process is definitely different. But I think it's going pretty well. So as far as things that I'm enjoying more or less, I will say that you know, we're not always hiking together, but there have been some stretches where before I would set up the tripod, walk away, and then walk back to it. And sometimes, you know, if we're near each other, then he's there to grab it, so I don't have to walk back, and I just wait on him and he catches up. So that's kind of nice. But you know, I don't know. It's been fun working with somebody more like as a project, you know, together. So let's see. So the CDT versus other through hikes, pros and cons, anything unique, whether that's good or bad. So certainly, you know, the AT, PCT, and CDT in that order have more people. So like the AT has the most, the PCT has, you know, medium, and then the CDT is more of a ghost town. And the AT just has such a strong community, such a great community. So I don't know, you know, that anything's really good or bad. It's really, it depends on the person who is looking at the situation, right? So do you want to be around people or do you not? Do you want more spectacular, amazing views, or do you want like the protection of the forest from the elements and more history on the trail, and you know, the older mountains, the different culture? So I think that it really has to do with what you want. And I think the CDT is more physically challenging than the PCT, um, but I think that it's more beautiful. I mean, Colorado, I don't know, maybe I shouldn't say that yet because Sierra Nevada and the Cascades are great, but so I don't know. It just, they do all different and different ways, and it's not necessarily good or bad, it's just different. And the CDT is more wild. I think there's been more wildlife, you know, more dangerous wildlife, grizz. So, you know, so yeah. Let's see. We talked about the silverthorn cutoff some. Let's see what somebody up here is. Thank you so much for taking the time for us tonight. I always enjoy these group chats. Well, thank you for being here. Sally said she had to go. Let's see. Did the dentist show you or offer the tooth to you, Dixie? Yes. In fact, apparently in my drunkenness of anesthesia or sedation or whatever, I insisted that I wanted my tooth, and like I kept asking for it. So it's kind of funny. Okay, and then let's see. Would you ever do the AT again? The footage right now is very good, and sometimes I wish we could have seen it for the AT too. Yeah, you know, actually, Aaron is thinking about doing the AT potentially next year, and still editing, you know, for me and everything. But so he might capture it, and you know, I think that it wouldn't be, of course, exactly the same if I was to do it, but I think that it would be better than what I did on the AT. So so that would be pretty cool. But yes, if I was gonna hike a trail right now and I had to name one, it would be the AT. And yeah, I would love to redo that and capture things in the way that I do now. I really would, because it's an incredible trail, and I feel like its beauty is underappreciated. So, but okay, so let's see. How's your tent holding up? Jim asked this. Or no, it wasn't Jim. I'm trying to think. Okay, how's your tent holding up, especially like in high winds? Does the noise keep you awake and stuff like that? So the uh, the tent is holding up well. I don't have holes in it like I did before, but I haven't been cowboy camping on top of it. I've also been keeping it in its stuff sack. And the trekking poles, I mean, everything, I've always been able to stabilize it, whether I'm stacking rocks on top of tent stakes or whatever. There was only one night where I was set up in absolute sand, like loose sand, and it was very, very windy, and there were no rocks around to stack on the stakes, and I had one tent pole fall over, and I got up and I fixed it. So, um, there was one night, but any high wind night I feel like is going to keep you up. The Cuban fiber might crunch a little bit more, make more of a noise, but if it's an extremely windy night, you're probably going to be kept awake anyway. So I really do like that tent, and that's why I have it again this time. And next summer when I go hike, I'm going to take it again. So, but I mean, all the folks pretty much that I've seen with it love it. But that doesn't mean that you will. So the good news is if you get it and you try it out a couple of times, at least you can resell it and get some of your money back. So I mean, I know that is kind of a risk, but I do like it. Okay, when hiking in grizzly country, are you prepared with more than pepper spray since the mountain lion encounter? So in grizz country, I will take bear spray, but right now all I have is my neck knife. I don't have it on right now; it's over on the counter. But so I'll have my neck knife and I'll have bear spray in grizz country. I don't think I'm gonna fight it off with a neck knife, but I'll try. Well, actually, won't try. You're not supposed to try to fight them. You're supposed to play dead. But bear spray, and yeah, with the mountain lion encounter, I didn't pick up anything else. I don't really feel like I need it. So, but if it's something that makes somebody feel better, they should do it. So, oh, and then also, will Kyle, Perk, or Aaron be there in Grizz Country? In other words, will we like more or less stick together? And I think that a lot of people in Grizzly Country are going to want to kind of pair up and especially camp together. So hopefully. I would say Aaron and I would definitely be sticking together at that time, hiking together and camping together. But hopefully there will be, some other people around, and I will have caught Perk by then. That would be really great. So, because Perk is crazy. Perk is crazy as all get out. And he says that he kind of fantasizes about, like, a grizz getting after somebody and him jumping on its back and, like choking it out. So, and he says if he gets et by a grizz, then he had a good run. And I'm like, I don't know why. That makes me kind of feel better. But, so, I know Perk would kind of act like a hoodlum and try to fight it off, but I don't know that wouldn't do any good. But anyway, we can all dream. So, and then yeah, the glove thing that Lloyd asked, but we already answered that. So, my homework assignment is to answer the question of one word for each trail, and then I'm gonna post pictures from this last stretch on there. So, let's see if we got any more questions here. And love videos, shots, and pics of you. Adds a lot this year. What do you think about you being in a video more? How do I like being in the videos more? I mean, honestly, I don't love watching myself talk. Like when I watch the videos and I hear my voice and see my face, I'm just like, So I'm really glad that I'm not editing my own videos, because I would just cut myself out of all of it and just have nature shots, which would be fine with me. But so I'm glad that Aaron does it, because that way, like, you got to talk about what's going on. You got to tell the story and stuff, right? So, but yeah, it's like, does anyone really like when they hear their voice recorded and it's played back for them? Like, does anyone really like that? I don't think so. But okay, let's see. If I were you, I would rent a metal detector and find that ring. I know, right? But it's in my house. I guess. I don't know. I don't know. All I know is that I had it on one day, and then the next day I woke up and I started doing stuff, and I was like, and I went to feel for it, because, like, you always kind of mess with stuff, and I went to mess with it, and I'm like, where'd it go? And it was gone, and so I don't even know where to I wouldn't even know where to search with the metal detector. Let's see. Bears and cats, throw a rock at them. Don't play dead with bears. Fight them with all you got. Just read an article in Backpacker Magazine. Yeah, that's with black bears. So if black bears attack you, they're gonna try to kill you because they're hungry. And I've heard with grizz that they'll bluff you, but they'll bluff like rough you up, and like they might not actually be killing you. But if you fight with a grizz, you're not gonna win. So they say the best thing to do with grizzlies is to play dead, but with black bears, if they attack you, you fight with all you have. Because normally a black bear, if they bluff, they're gonna just kind of run at you and stop. But I mean, if they start attacking you, then their goal is for sure to kill you. But I guess with the grizz, it could be just to rough you up and like, play with you. I don't know. But I just can't imagine like laying there and being quiet while a grizzly is like gnawing on me. I don't even want to think about it. I think about things like that and then I'm like, so I don't think about it. Like Scarlett O'Hara says, I'll think about that tomorrow. If you have to die, do so doing something you love. That's right, Braylon. I mean, we all gotta go out sometime, I reckon. So, Hannah says, thanks for the Q&A tonight. I grew up in your neck of the woods, kind of just north of Columbus, Georgia. Oh, cool. So, what is that? Like, is that Harrison County? Am I making that up? Harrison County? I feel like I went to a rodeo up there one time. I'm not sure exactly, where, but anyhow, yeah, I am very familiar with the Columbus area, so that's really crazy. Small world. Yeah, my a lot of folks are familiar with at least Columbus because of Fort Benning. So, but anyway, well, I reckon that's it, y'all. Thank you so much. Yeah, Harris. Okay, Hannah said Harris. Yeah. Thank you all so much for tuning in, and I hope that tonight at least we were able to get some folks on who couldn't be on because I did it like during the day on a weekday before, early instead of in the evening. So I try to mix it up, it just depends on when I'm in town and stuff. So, but I'll let y'all know when we'll do this again, and I will update you. I probably won't do a live Q&A at the next stop, but I will definitely post and update y'all. I need to try to get another blog post out, so that's my goal. Start working on it tonight and hopefully post it in the next town, and I won't be zeroing there. So the next time I zero, though, I'll definitely do one. Yeah, so thank you all so much for everything, for cheering me on, for lifting my spirits when I'm down, because I mean, y'all don't realize how much y'all do that. So anyway, thank you for everything, and thank y'all for tuning in, and that's what makes these fun, is all the questions. So y'all have a good evening, and yeah, let's see, it's Wednesday, so happy hump day, and you got 2 more days, and you'll have the weekend. So anyway, thank y'all so much, and let's see, stay safe. It's about the road, not the ending. Don't worry about Canada. Thank you, and don't worry about the summit. Enjoy the climb. So all right, we'll see y'all later. Bye.